Hello and welcome to Express Update right here on Clock TV. I am Peter Nsia. Coming up in our stories, Finance Minister assures tertiary unions of book and research allowance in 2025 budget, calls for support on payroll audit. Minority unveils 3-point plan to tackle energy debt, opposes new fuel levy. Mahama administration bans DSTV at Jubilee House in new cost-cutting measure. Tertiary workers meet Labour Commission today over unresolved grievances. In our first story, the Minister for Finance has met with the leadership of 3 major tertiary education unions, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana, TUTAG, and the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, to address concerns over the disbursement of the book and research allowance.
The meeting followed a formal request from the unions, with the minister assuring them that the allowance has been fully provided for in the 2025 budget and the process for its release are underway in collaboration with the Ministry of Education. He also commended the unions for proposing the establishment of a dedicated labor relation desk at the Ministry of Finance to enhance engagement with labor groups. During the meeting, the minister updated the union leaders on ongoing payroll reforms, revealing preliminary audit findings by the Auditor General that uncovered a significant number of ghost names on the public payroll. He appealed to the unions to support efforts to clean up the payroll, stressing its importance in safeguarding public funds and ensuring fairness in public sector compensation.
And away from that story, the minority in Parliament has proposed a 3-point strategy to help governments tackle Ghana's growing energy sector debt, estimated at over 80 billion Ghana cedis. At a press conference in Accra, the ranking member on the Economy and Development Committee, Kojo Opon-Nkrumah, urged government to move away from imposing new taxes such as the recently introduced 8% fuel levy and instead pursue more sustainable reforms. The proposals include renegotiating expensive power deals, expanding renewable energy to reduce fuel cost and debt, and restructuring agreements with power producers for transparent tariff setting. The also called for a stakeholder forum to find fair, practical solutions to the energy crisis.
Suggestions to make to the government, and I'd like to highlight a few of them. The minority believes strongly that if this government is minded to pay off the energy sector debt, because you recall that part of their justification is that they want to pay off the energy sector debt. In fact, the president said he'll pay it off by December 2026. And we have just done the maths for you, that if you look at what is going to accrue in the 2 years, it cannot pay off the energy sector debt. But let us assume that they are being honest with that they want to pay off the energy sector debt. We think that what the government should do is to conclude the renegotiations of the of the power purchase agreements which were started by the previous administration, and to pass on 2 things, the fuel and capacity charges into the PPAs. Government should include these in the tariff calculations to eliminate the need for off-book debts that are caused by the take or pay clauses in the energy sector contracts that were signed between 2013 and 2016. And you will recall that that is one of the major challenges that has created the stock of energy sector debt. We're asking government to pursue the strategy that we proposed in 2024 to go heavily into renewable energy, as advertised, for example, in our manifesto, to reduce the need for fuel importation and its consequent negative impacts on the economy. And you will recall that prior to 2024, in the elections, we signaled that if the NPP was in power today, we will focus heavily on augmenting with solar power, so that this whole thing of buying HFO and fuel for the power plants will be reduced. In closing, colleagues, it's already clear that the government intends to go ahead with the implementation of this draconian levy, and they will not listen to anybody's plea, anybody's reasoning, or anybody's alternative ideas. We as a minority group, representing over 10 million Ghanaians, and sometimes people say, oh, they are just 88. In our 88 constituencies, you will find over 10 million Ghanaians. We want to advertise that we'll be embarking on the following. Number 1, we'll continuously engage the people of Ghana, civil society groups, driver unions, and the media to showcase the true impact of this draconian and negative levy that the government is imposing on us.
Away from Parliament, in a bid to cut unnecessary public spending, the Mahama administration has banned all offices within the Jubilee House from subscribing to DSTV and other satellite TV services, limiting viewing to local channels only.
Government spokesperson Felix Kwachi Owusu announced the policy, describing it as part of a wider strategy to eliminate wasteful expenditure. He noted that although the measure may appear minor, the cumulative cost savings are significant. The government plans to extend this cord-cutting initiative to other public institutions, positioning it as a demonstration of President Mahama's commitment to modest, accountable and fiscally responsible governance. The move comes amid growing public calls for financial restraint in state operations, with political observers viewing it as both symbolic and a reflection of government responsiveness to citizens' concerns.
I can reveal to you that if you come to this house, there's no office in this house that is allowed to subscribe to DSTV or any satellite television. And it is something that will be extended to all government agencies to ensure that we don't waste the taxpayers' money. There are other cuts that will be announced going forward. So this is a man deeply committed to making savings for the Ghanaian, because we know that governance necessarily involves taking tough decisions, some of which will impinge on the citizenry, but the citizenry must see corresponding levels of modesty on the part of government officials, and that's what President Mahama is committed to doing. So I can assure the people of Ghana that perhaps we understand fully their right to vent, their right to express concern about this levy. That levy will be used judiciously, and we can almost promise that it will help alleviate the single biggest problem this country is facing. That is the news sector.
And in our last story, the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, MOAC, is scheduled to meet the National Labour Commission today, June 11, 2025, in a bid to resolve long-standing concerns about poor working conditions, low salaries, inadequate protective gear, and unsafe work environment issues the association has raised since 2019. MOAC's General Secretary Richard Kofi Jordan expressed cautious optimism that the meeting, which will involve key stakeholders including the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service, could lead to concrete action. However, he also voiced frustration over the lack of progress from past engagement, describing repeated meetings without tangible outcomes as unproductive. And this is all we have for you on Express Update. I am Peter Insian. Tune in for more insightful programs.